haunted hospital. Yo, what's good, listeners? Welcome to the Storybook Horror Podcast. I'm Sarah, a shrink who thought she was gonna start fresh at Willowcrest Psych Ward. But now I'm just a ghost stuck in these cold, gray walls. Tonight I'm spilling my guts about a story that kicked off with some heavy sadness and spiraled into straight-up terror. Listen up, but fair warning, this tale might drag you down with it. When I first rolled into Willowcrest, my heart felt like it was carrying a ton of bricks. Like that creepy vibe when you know someone's watching you, but you turn around and there's nada. The place was old as hell, with cracked walls and a damp, moldy stench that seemed to crawl up from the ground. The hallways were long, dark, with these flickering yellow lights that gave me the chills. I came here to help the patients, maybe make a difference, you know? But right from day one, something about this joint felt wrong. The first clue hit me in the patient files. I was pulling night shifts, poring over records, when I saw names I'd never heard of. Elva, Jacob, Clara. Nobody in the ward knew them. The old-timer nurses just shrugged, like, probably a glitch in the system. But I knew they were full of it, 'cause when the hospital went quiet at night, those names, they started showing up. First time I saw Elva, I nearly lost it. It was a freezing night, under a flickering light that pulsed like a dying heartbeat. And there she was, standing at the end of the hall. This skinny girl with white hair that looked like it was spun from cobwebs. Her hospital gown was all torn up, and her eyes, holy crap, her eyes were like bottomless pits. She just stared at me, not blinking. I tried to call out, but my voice got stuck in my throat. I blinked, and poof, she was gone. All that was left was this cold, wet smell, like fresh graveyard dirt. After that night, they kept coming. Jacob, this tall dude with a burned-up face, like he crawled out of a nightmare. He'd lurk in the shadows, flashing this crooked grin that made my bones shake. Clara, she only showed up in mirrors. Every time I glanced in the bathroom mirror, there she was, behind my shoulder, her black hair spilling over her face, smiling like she wanted to steal my soul. Every night, the hospital felt more like a damn prison. Lights would cut out on their own. Doors would lock for no reason, and I'd hear footsteps from the ceiling, like someone was pacing up there. The real patients were changing too. Some of them would wake up screaming, saying someone was watching them from inside the walls. One old guy, eyes wide with fear, grabbed my arm and whispered, "They want us, Doc. They're stronger than us." I couldn't buy that this was all in my head. I had to figure out what was going on. In the hospital's basement, where nobody dared to go, I found an old archive, dusty files from decades back, the names in them: Elva, Jacob, Clara. No record of them being discharged, no record of them dying. It was like Willowcrest had swallowed them whole. Tucked in one file was a handwritten note, scrawled in shaky handwriting. They were born from our minds, but now they own their own. Underneath, it said, if you think about them, they get stronger. My heart was pounding. I was getting too close to something I wasn't supposed to know. Every night got worse. Elva started getting closer, sometimes standing by my bed, whispering, "Stay with us." Jacob would prowl the halls, laughing this dry, hollow laugh that echoed like it came from a well. Clara wasn't just in mirrors anymore. I could feel her cold breath on the back of my neck. The hospital was eating me alive. My dreams were full of shadows, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw them, like they were pulling me toward them. One night, a new patient, this young woman, grabbed me in the hall and hissed. They made me do it. They said if I didn't write it, they wouldn't let me go. When I asked what she wrote, she shoved a crumpled paper at me. In frantic scribbles, it said, "They're real." Couldn't take it anymore. One night when Clara appeared in my room, I tried talking to her. Her hair was like a black curtain over her face, and her voice, it was like a whisper from the grave. I said, "Why are you here? What do you want from me?" Her smile stretched wider, and she said, "We're always here, Sarah. You saw us, so now you're ours." From that night on, they weren't just shadows anymore. I could feel them rooting into my mind, like every thought, every fear, was making them stronger. I stopped sleeping, 'cause I was scared if I did, I wouldn't be me anymore. I decided to fight back. I thought if I could crack their secret, maybe I could free them or save myself. I dug deeper in the archives, found an old journal from a shrink who worked here years ago. It said Willowcrest was built on some kinda psychic fault line, a place where broken minds could create things that became real. It said, they feed on our fear and pain. The only way to stop them is to forget them. But how the hell was I supposed to forget when they were in my face every night? Things got so bad, I started hearing them in the day too. Patients would stop mid-sentence, staring at corners like they saw something I couldn't. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on me. One night, I found a kid, maybe 16, carving something into his arm with a pen. When I stopped him, I saw what he'd written. Elva was here. He looked at me with empty eyes and said, "She told me to." I decided to fight back. I thought if I could crack their secret, maybe I could free them or save myself. I dug deeper in the archives, found an old journal from a shrink who worked here years ago. It said Willowcrest was built on some kinda psychic fault line, a place where broken minds could create things that became real. It said they feed on our fear and pain. The only way to stop them is to forget them. But how the hell was I supposed to forget when they were in my face every night? Things got so bad, I started hearing them in the day too. Patients would stop mid-sentence, staring at corners like they saw something I couldn't. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on me. One night, I found a kid, maybe 16, carving something into his arm with a pen. When I stopped him, I saw what he'd written. Elva was here. He looked at me with empty eyes and said, "She told me to." That's when I knew I was running out of time. The last night, I snapped. I thought if I burned Willowcrest to the ground, maybe it'd take them with it. I grabbed gasoline from the maintenance shed and doused the old wing's halls and rooms. My hands were shaking, but I was out of options. As I lit the match, Elva appeared right in front of me. Her eyes were blazing with rage, reflecting the flames. She said, "We're in your head, Sarah. Fire can't touch us." Jacob and Clara were there too, circling me, their laughs ringing in my skull. The fire roared, walls cracked, and the ceiling started caving in. But they were still there. Their shadows danced in the flames, their voices like a twisted choir in my head. I ran for the exit, but the door was locked tight. I screamed, I cried, but nobody was coming to help. The last thing I remember was the fire closing in, and Elva's voice whispering, "You're one of us now." When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the ashes. I was in a room, strapped to a bed in a hospital gown. The walls were the same, but different. Cleaner, brighter, but still alive, still breathing. A nurse came in, smiling, but her eyes were wrong, empty, like Elva's. She said, "Welcome back, Sarah. You've been out for a while." I tried to scream, to tell her I wasn't a patient, but my voice wouldn't come. Then I saw them, Elva, Jacob, Clara, standing in the corner, smiling. They weren't shadows anymore. They were real. And I was one of them. They'd taken me, turned me into a patient in their hospital, a ghost in their world. Now I'm trapped, not in Willowcrest, but in a twisted version of it, where the walls pulse and the air hums with their whispers. Every day, I see a new shrink walk through the doors, eyes full of hope, just like mine were. And every night, I watch them break, just like me. This is my story. You still listening? Or maybe they're already watching you.